Something just happened in Bamako, and most people don't understand how big it is yet. Ibrahim Traoré arrived in Mali and stood side by side with Assimi Goïta and Abdourahamane Tiani. 3 leaders, 1 alliance, 1 message. This wasn't a routine meeting. This was the AES Leaders Summit. Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger closing ranks at a time when pressure from outside is growing louder. But here's the part that shocked many people. They didn't just talk politics or security. They launched AES Television, a regional TV station designed to control their own narrative and stop others from speaking for them. For the first time, the Sahel Alliance now has its own voice, its own media platform, and its own way of telling the world what's really happening, without filters. And at this same summit, Ibrahim Traoré was confirmed as the new rotating chair of AES, signaling a clear shift in leadership and direction. This meeting in Bamako wasn't symbolic. It was strategic. And what comes next could change West Africa faster than anyone expects.
Again, I would like to apologize to the people of the Sahel who were waiting for us yesterday. But God willed it to be today, and here we are. We give thanks for all the blessings and for this wonderful day as we have gathered here in Bamako for the 2nd session of the College of Heads of State of the AES Confederation. I would also like to pay a very special and heartfelt tribute to our incredibly brave and dedicated fighting forces who are consistently doing truly tremendous and exceptionally vital work on the ground, tirelessly dedicating themselves to their crucial mission, and thanks to whom we are able to gather here today to come together in the name of our people. I would like to apologize once again. To those whom my words might offend, I apologize, because I won't sugarcoat things. We are going to address words that only mimic prayer. You have all certainly heard of the significant and impactful Arab Spring, that profound phenomenon which dramatically shook the entire geopolitics of the Arab world, commencing from the Maghreb region in Africa all the way across to Asia, which manifested itself with often disastrous consequences, deaths and divisions in some places, and unprecedented political upheavals in others. And I think that all Africans should understand what this phenomenon is, where it comes from, and what needs to be done to protect themselves from such a phenomenon. Unfortunately, we regret to note that some Africans are not waking up. And what I want to say is just my own thought, my analysis, which is that there is something coming to West Africa that I have called the Black Winter. The Black Winter is coming. It will be a very, very cold winter indeed. A truly bloody winter. A profoundly deadly winter. You might understandably ask me why. Well, let me explain. When we founded the AES Confederation, we felt this cold coming. And every day that God gives us, we strive to find logs to light a fire. A fire that will warm the hearts of Africans, a fire that will warm the minds and the blood of Africans so we can unite around it. We have also made every effort to charge at the wolf, to try to use their skin, to make coats to protect ourselves from the cold of winter. We have strived to build mountains, great mountains, to break the winter wind that would otherwise fall upon our communities. Unfortunately, it must be acknowledged that some black people are there every day, watering our logs with fresh water so they can't burn. They turn into wolves to make sure that we, the wolf seekers, cannot catch the wolf by surprise. When we want to build our mountains, they break the stones so that we cannot succeed. Should we allow those who fought against us to come seek shelter with our coats that we made, the mountains we built to protect ourselves from the winds, or even to warm themselves with us around the fire? That is the question we must ask ourselves. So what will become of Pan-Africanism when winter comes? Winter will come because war is spreading to West Africa. The imperialists are doing everything they can to set West Africa ablaze. But from the highest levels of the state to certain segments of the population, either we pretend not to see the danger coming, or we ourselves are complicit in what is about to happen. Chaos could take hold. I said could take hold. A lot of people could die. We will slaughter each other in such a horrific way that, during that time, they will be there looting our resources and imposing their will. And those who survive this tragedy will have only two choices. Either unite forever against imperialism or resign themselves to being slaves until they disappear. So we must prepare ourselves for the winter, the dark winter that is coming. We cannot understand that there are black people in West Africa, here. Pray to God that the terrorists kill black populations. We cannot understand that cowardly heads of state hide behind the media, so-called media, to discourage, insult, and stir up hatred among the people. The individuals who sit on their platforms who, from morning till night every day, spit their toxic venom to stir up hatred between communities are generally very nasty. With their miserable faces, look at them closely. They're there with the eyes of wild fruit flies, spitting venom every day. They seek to divide communities. On social media, they're there, and there are many of them. Why is it that we, black people, try to cultivate hatred among ourselves, and out of hypocrisy, we call each other brother? We need to be able to tell each other the truth very bluntly, even if it offends. We'll apologize, but we need to wake up. Why are black people often like this? Why can't we truly see impending danger coming, unite effectively, and genuinely warn each other about potential threats? Why do our collective actions sometimes make us face these significant dangers and inherent risks? Is it to tragically decimate ourselves? Others have closed their ears. They pretend not to hear the politics of study. Some peoples are content to remain colonized. They like this domination. If they're not calling on the imperialists, they're saying, come colonize us. We love being your slaves. We often ask ourselves questions when we see these reactions. These so-called brainless intellectuals who spend all day engaging in debates with no dignity, with complete dishonesty, as if we can't see the reality of the examples right in front of us. There are plenty of examples. When democracy does certain things that go against the very rules it sets, it turns a blind eye to them. But they're quick to call us kids or puppets. But be sure of one thing, we are united, and we will remain united. And we must open our eyes. The AES will evolve. Not everything is necessarily perfect. Not everything is moving at the pace we want. But we are moving forward calmly, and we will reach our goal. And when winter comes, if we must go through winter to be free, to be united, we pray to God. So be it, and may He protect our people. Otherwise, one thing is certain, the AES will prevail, the AES will grow. Stay calm, because we have faith in our people. We trust you, and we know that no manipulation can divide us today. No manipulation can make us hate other people. No manipulation should lead us to retaliate in a violent or physical way against those individuals who have understood absolutely nothing. Stay calm. Do not retaliate physically. We will respond through communication until they themselves change their approach, and we will also respond according to their actions. Stay calm. God will protect AES. May God protect you all the people of AES. May God guide you all in your goals. And God, He is so just, especially for those who fight. We are fighting. We are a resilient people, the most resilient in the sub-region. No one would have believed that you could endure what you are currently experiencing. We will defeat terrorism, we will develop, and we will assert ourselves. We will have our place among the nations of the world. May God bless the AES. May God bless our resilient and steadfast people. May God unite us even more, the homeland or death we call upon it.
These three leaders are changing the rules in West Africa. No more foreign control, no more outside powers. Just them, reshaping their future on their own terms. Do you support this path?